Hi, my name's Chandler Malone, and I'm going to be doing my presentation on U.S. vaccination rates and how different state policies are impacting the rate of vaccination that we see in certain states. Just a little bit of background, vaccination rates have been decreasing. As a result, we've seen spikes in diseases that were previously considered no longer really public health issues, such as whooping cough and measles. Both of these diseases are preventable with vaccines. However, there's been a public outcry about a potential connection between autism and vaccinations. Largely, this has been led by a few select people in the media, the biggest one being Jenny McCarthy, kind of doing a campaign of what's called anti-vaxxers, people that are against vaccinations. A lot of this stems from a study that was conducted in the 1980s in the United Kingdom by Andrew Wakefield. He was a doctor there. He published this paper saying that there was a connection between autism and vaccinations. Later, however, it was found that the study had so many flaws in it that it was retracted, and then he eventually ended up having his medical license pulled as a result of this paper. As you can see by this map, this is the current vaccination rates. There's just so much disparity in this map. There's not really a partisan, socioeconomic, or even geographic explanation to it. The rates are just kind of all over the place as far as where states are, or the rate at which states have vaccinations done. This really kind of gives some background or some precedent to the study that we're going to look at, which discusses how different state level policies are really kind of behind this increase. Um, you have to keep the vaccination rates above a certain rate in order to get what's called herd immunity. Herd immunity basically protects children that are immunosuppressed or too young to get certain vaccines. The idea is that if you get enough of the people within a society vaccinated, then you can keep everyone else from contracting the disease. We've seen a 1% decrease from 99 to 98% in the vaccination rate, but that also means we've seen a 100% increase in the unvaccinated, so almost twice as many people not getting vaccines. The study we're going to be looking at is called Exempting School Children from Immunizations. States with few barriers had highest rates of non-medical exemptions. The authors of this study are Blank, Kaplan, and Constable, and it was published in 2013 in Health Affairs. As far as the data and methods, they mainly used a scale that was developed by Rhoda in 2001. The scale has a easy, medium, and difficult level system. Basically, it looks at how difficult it is in a state in order to get a non-medical exemption to a vaccine. So in states that are easy, you simply have to fill out a form, and that's really all they require of you. You sign it, turn it back in, and you're good to go. At the next level, they require that you go to a local health office and get a form, or you can go sit down with a public health professional and talk about the risk of not getting vaccinations. Or you can write an original statement doing your own research on why you think that vaccinations are, or why you object to vaccinations. At the most difficult level, they have a lot of the same requirements as level 2. The biggest difference is they require you to get your form notarized. So that adds just another level of difficulty, especially for most people. It means one more step, in addition to getting the form, they then have to get it, fill it out, get it notarized, bring it back. So it definitely adds a little bit more difficulty. In order to conduct this research, they talked to immunization officials in 48 states and the District of Columbia through phone and email interview. As we can see by this map right here, come down over here for you. As we can see, the unvaccinated rate in states that have easy requirements is 2.9 versus in medium 1.5 and hard roughly 1%. So almost 3 times as many people not getting vaccines if you have a state that's considered easy to get a vaccine exemption in. There's also exemptions for religious reasons. We see that if you allow only religious exemptions, you have about 1.5% that are going to exempt. If you allow both religious and philosophical reasons in there, you see an almost 100% increase from 1.5% to 2.8%. They did see that the language used in the religious exemptions didn't really do anything to discourage people from getting those kind of exemptions. As far as like just our discussion and things Of that nature. What we see is that mostly this policy is citizen driven. So if you have a pocket of citizens in a certain area that are really passionate about it, you'll see that they can really kind of shape the policy. So it's not something that's being driven by public health professionals or even by politicians. Even most of the time, it's just by engaged citizens who are kind of becoming more involved. Education is what's viewed as the best tool to curb the rate of unvaccinated children. They've seen success in Vermont, Washington State, and California. When you increase people to get more educated about these issues or look at the research, you see that a lot of people decide that the vaccination is actually a better tool. Um, as far as restrictions on religious exemptions, most states are a little bit frightful, as are the politicians. It's viewed very unfavorably to question people's religious validity, and it faces both an ethical and constitutional concerns that could be challenged later on in court. Um, Lastly, as you see, centralized policy is really the key in states. If we could have a federal policy that mandated all this, it would be even better. A lot of in certain states, there's only a handful. They've actually delegated this out to local school districts, which is really leads to a very disparate kind of disconjointed system. Um, and they don't really, or they're not advocating to make exemptions more difficult in order to get better results. Really, you want to try to convince people this is the right thing to do, not just make it more difficult for them. So thank you so much. This has been my presentation on vaccines and how state policy is impacting them.